Okay, so this is the 2020 version of Club Leadership Training Online, the membership segment. And the lead for this presentation is Brian Bennett, who is our Director of Membership for District 7080. And he has a panel and he will introduce them properly as the session goes on. So welcome. We hope you've all had a lovely sunny day. We've got a couple of housekeeping things just to settle with you when you're ready, and then the presentation will begin. During the sessions, you will be muted at all times, and so that the speakers can speak. If you have a question, go to the chat box at the bottom of your screen and put your question in there, and we'll find an appropriate moment, maybe at the end of each segment, whether it's Brian, Andrew, Ed, Scott, or Brian, and we'll make sure your questions get answered one way or another. And there is a segment down at the bottom of the participants box at the bottom of your screen where you can raise your hand. But typically, we won't interrupt the speakers, but we'll give you lots of time to have your questions answered at the end of each of the segments or at the very end of this whole presentation. So my name's Patricia DeMeck. I belong to the District Training Committee and I'm chair of this event. So I'm really happy to welcome you all here and hand things off to Brian Bennett from Rotary Tavistock, our district membership chair. Over to you, Brian.
Thank you, Patricia, and welcome everybody. It's our pleasure to bring some ideas of membership to you tonight. Joining me in this presentation are members of my team at the district level. As Rotary said, or as Patricia said, I'm the district membership chair. Tonight I have with me Andrew Williams from the Kitchener-Westmount Club. I have Ed Broders from Bolton Club, Scott Hebert from the Cambridge Sunrise Club, and Brian Carmichael from Passport South, as well as a past district governor. Tonight, the areas that we plan to cover, I'm going to start with overview, club flexibility and health. Then we'll move on to some comments from Andrew on attracting new members. Following Scott, we'll talk about onboarding members, and then Brian Carmichael will close with some membership committee basics. Our members are our greatest assets, and when Rotary membership is strong, our clubs are more vibrant, Rotary has greater viability, and our members have more resources to help communities flourish. If we want to continue to create lasting change in our communities, in our world, and in ourselves, we have to act now. Worldwide, over the past 5 years, we remained at about 1.2 members. But in our district, our members have oops, I got the wrong slide here, I'm sorry. Sorry, folks, I dropped a slide here by accident. I don't know where it went. Okay, we'll move on to some comments about why members leave. According to a study, 30% of former members cited cost of time as the #1 reason they leave. The job of a Rotarian should never be seen as a time commitment too great for a visiting professional to consider. Otherwise, we're closing the door to the contributions of the people we need most in Rotary. A growing number of departing members also cite the club environment and say their expectations weren't met. Imagine being excited to be a Rotarian only to discover that the experience you promised wasn't available. And some of the feedback we get from those that said they would not recommend Rotary, what they were really saying was they would not recommend their own Rotary club. And the reasons that they were given was that they would not would include bad club environment and culture, spotty onboarding, no flexibility, less diversity, not making use of their knowledge and skills for service projects, are not offering the right service opportunities. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. We've talked about Rotary's commitment to diversity, but inclusion is equally important and even harder to measure. Inclusion refers to a cultural and environmental feeling of belonging, and we measure it by the extent to which members value, respect, accept, and encourage to fully participate in the club. Some ideas. Invite local diversity, equity, and inclusion experts to speak at your club's next gathering. Encourage and support people from underrepresented groups to take on leadership positions in your club and at the district level. Create a community advisory board and invite diverse members from the community and from your club to take part. Diversity and inclusion won't happen on its own in a vacuum. We need to invest in people in order to have them invest in Rotary. What members want. So why Rotary? What do we offer that's unique? Rotary is a worldwide organization with the power to make meaningful change. It affords a platform for personal growth and development, quality friendships, and leadership development, and the opportunity to give back to society. Rotary research shows that prospective members are looking for opportunities to grow personally and professionally. Rotary offers them that. The next time someone asks you about Rotary, you can say, you'll achieve more than you ever thought possible, and you won't do it alone. So what's our biggest challenge? The majority of club leaders listed attracting new members as their biggest challenge, but many also said that accommodating the needs of prospective and current members, i.e. busy schedules, family, financial obligations, etc., was a big challenge too. Addressing both of these challenges effectively requires us to think differently and adopt a change more quickly. One of the most important things we can do is assess our clubs regularly and make sure that we are welcoming to prospective members. And on the screen here, you can see reference to a couple of health checks, the Rotary Club Health Check and the Enhancing the Club Experience. We at our committee have developed these surveys using SurveyMonkey, and we can customize it for your club so that it will be unique to your club. Your answers will come back on an anonymous basis to your club, and you can measure how your club is being seen by the rest of the people, both your members and externally. Contact your AG or myself or any member of our committee, and we'll be happy to set these surveys up for you. They're a great idea. Now, we want to take your club in a new direction. The second challenge that club leaders mentioned is accommodating the varied needs of its members. If your current structure is working, there is no need to change it. But clubs actually have more freedom than ever to create an experience that works for their current and prospective members. First option, alternative members types, corporate members, family memberships, service or volunteer memberships, alumni members, Rotaract members.
Hey, Brian, there's no sound or video.
So I understand that I got a technical problem there. I'm sorry, I wanted you to let's see the video. So we'll just have to carry on without the videos. And I realize now what I forgot to turn back on, Darren. And okay, so as I mentioned, the flexible options for members, a variety of types there. It presents options for prospective members to different pricing structures and or time commitment. It's an opportunity to partner with a local corporation. And it diversifies the club by attracting businesses, prospective members, young families, and other groups who aren't able to join as traditional members. Flexible operations for clubs. Examples are a satellite club, an e-club, a passport club, a corporate club, a special interest club, a new voices club, or an alumni club. Again, creates new opportunities for prospective members in your area. It allows disengaged members to try new practices and ideas and creates opportunities for new leadership. Allows members in traditional clubs to continue if they enjoy their club experience. Next kind of flexible option is changing your meeting format. It makes club meetings more interesting, engages members and guests. It creates a culture where agility and creativity are valued and demonstrated, and members can gain professional development skills. And finally, relax attendance expectations. Reduce the meeting frequency. This accommodates members who have busy schedules and doesn't permit them to attend the same time. Encourages participation outside of in-person meetings. Better club management. Member management makes the club more appealing to prospective members, diversifies club if non-traditional groups are motivated to join, and compels clubs to make good use of the meeting time. And of course, in this day and age with the COVID, one of the beautiful meeting flexible option is the use of Zoom. And I know that that's getting a lot of use in the club, and that's great. That's a great way to reach out and find a different way to reach people and invite them into your meetings. So that's some of the opening comments that I want to make and some of the comments on flexible options. So at this time, I'm going to turn to my committee member, Andrew, who will talk about attracting new members.
In between time here, I'd like to offer the opportunity for some questions. And Sherry Miller, I'm sorry, Sherry, I'm not sure which club you're from, but she says, my club wants to offer some different membership types, but we're not sure how to record the members in Club Runner. Now, maybe that's more of a question for Club Runner. And Sherry, I can direct you in that way after this is over, but if, do you think that Brian has shared already the different types of memberships that are available? And maybe we can unmute you here for a moment, Sherry. And we love Zoom. Sherry, she's from out of district and she's really happy to be here. Do you want to go ahead and see if Brian can address your question, please?
Yes, so my understanding is that in Club Runner, we really only have active, honorary, and inactive as options. They're also friends of Rotary, but if you want to offer, say, a couple, and so you're paying Rotary dues for one of them, and then you're making the secondary person maybe a club member, so you only are paying club dues for that person. You list the primary then as the active member and the secondary member as a friend of the club, or how do you manage that within Club Runner so that they're part of your distribution, but they're properly recorded for our membership purposes?
I think the answer, now this can also be directed back to Club Runner, but because Club Runner is tying the members that are listed in your club to the IR membership. And of course, as you probably realize at RI, you can only register the member who is paying the dues and who are for which you are remitting the dues on his or her behalf. So I don't believe there's a way in Club Runner yet that you can, other than as I say, a friendship member or something like that, have that person, listed as a member.
Thanks for your question, Sheila. We'll let you roll along there, Brian. And if you need any further information, we'll just forward that along to you, Sheila.
Sorry, but thank you.
You're welcome.
Can we get that first two polls in there, Dan? So folks, I'd like to invite you just, there's a quick survey here amongst all the all the attendees. If you just press one of the buttons, how did you join Rotary? Were you invited or did you seek out Rotary? If you just want to click on the button, and we'll close the poll shortly as soon as everybody's answered. Click on the button and hit submit. Oh, about a 50-50 split. Awesome. Can we have the next poll, please? So you only have to answer that one if you actually were, if you sought out Rotary. Yeah. Look at that. Awesome. Thank you very much for participating. So my name's Andrew Williams. I'm with the Rotary Club of Kitchener-Westmount. I've been a Rotarian now for about 20 years, past president and past assistant governor of the Kitchener-Waterloo cluster. We're going to talk a little bit about attraction, following on what Brian said. I'll start off with a little article by Jenny Stotts from the District 6690 membership chair. And it's talking about resilience. So resilience is the process of adapting in the face of adversity. When we experience a traumatic or a stressful event, our brains activate a number of pathways to protect us. These biological processes help keep us safe. It's in the recovery from these events that we grow and change and become stronger. Many of us are living this reality right now in the face of COVID-19 pandemic. The good news is there are ways to grow our capacity for resilience, and we can use this time to strengthen Rotary by working together to grow and foster resilience in our fellow members and our clubs. Here are a few tips. Connect. A critical building block for resilience is simply connecting with others. Check in with fellow members. Call them. Send them a message. Work to make sure that they can access your virtual meetings. As a club, consider connecting with other clubs to weave yourself further into the global fabric of Rotary. Perspective. When we experience ongoing adversity, it is far too easy to lose hope. Help members maintain a realistic and positive perspective. Rotary clubs are facing challenges right now, including adjusting to the new meeting platforms and worrying about membership or giving. Remember that the challenges you face today are not a reflection of your future. How you respond to today's challenges will shape the future. Wellness. We are living during a time where words like quarantine, lockdown, and Zoom fatigue are common and relatable. Promote and prioritize wellness among your members. Use your virtual meetings to ask members to share ways that they're taking care of themselves and their families. Be gracious when a member needs to take a break, skip a meeting, or have an extra few days to respond to an email. Now is not the time to keep points or compete with who is doing more or less. Speak and listen with kindness. Purpose. When we give energy to others, it's a way of recharging our own batteries. It fosters a sense of self-worth and gives us feelings of purpose and validation. Plan service opportunities with your fellow members that you're able to accomplish and approach. Offer smaller projects concurrent to your larger ongoing projects gives everyone in your club an access point to service. Gratitude. We benefit from mindful and intentional reflections and gratitude. It can promote the release of neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, which help us feel joy or happiness. Take a moment to share thanks to your fellow members and create opportunities for your entire club to extend gratitude to your community and your partners. When we collectively care for our members, we help create pathways to grow and foster resilience. When we scale these practices to the organization level, we unlock new potential to strengthen our clubs and enhance the member experience. The world deserves Rotarians and Rotary clubs that are resilient, adaptable, and strong. Remember to take care of one another, but take care of yourself too. You deserve to be your best and most resilient self. A wonderful article from Rotary Voices, District 6690. So, as Brian mentioned earlier, club self-examination. Is your club fun? Is it welcoming? Is it interesting? Would you join your Rotary club? Attracting new members is not only a committee function. All Rotarians need to invite prospects. So as Brian mentioned earlier, the district committee has these wonderful tools. We help you set up SurveyMonkey, help you examine your club. So please reach out if you need some assistance doing that. Club action. So once you've evaluated your club and you've completed a survey, it's time to set some goals and an action plan. A goal is to get a prospect to meeting. Ensure the whole club is on board and it's welcoming. Engage them in Rotary. Focus them on the benefits of Rotary. Ideas. Here are some ideas on how to generate some leads. You could hold a membership event. You could advertise. You could invite prospects to multiple meetings. You could invite prospects to help at fundraisers or events. You could provide Rotary information at club events and fundraisers. All club members should think about asking their friends or neighbors or the business acquaintances who share the same values and ideals that you do to a meeting. Perhaps they would like to know more about Rotary. Of course, the elephant in the room is COVID-19. How do we do all of these things when we can only meet virtually? Well, when one door closes, a few more open up. Let's make the most of social media, virtual meetings, etc. With so many clubs virtually on Zoom, it's easy to connect, share great speakers from any part of the globe, and meet Rotarians from every country. Here are some points to consider. Physical distancing and social distancing, we can meet via Zoom, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams. Invite someone to join you at a meeting, virtually, of course. Have you practiced your elevator speech? If so, it should be 2 minutes long, and tell them a little bit about Rotary and what you do and how you do it in the community. Don't just say, join us. Fix a date and time. Get them to commit to next week's meeting or the week after, and promise to be there with them. Engage your new prospects. Make it fun. If you get some guest speakers with Zoom these days, you can get a guest speaker from just about anywhere in the world. You can get some awesome guest speakers. Fun and fellowship should be your basis or your foundation of making your meetings fun. There are many, as we had that survey earlier on, there are people that seek out Rotary. In District 7080, we had over 77 individuals seek out Rotary. And there are their age groups broken down. And here is a breakdown by cluster of those 77 people. To date, only 5 of those people have become Rotarians. So there's a lot of potential there. 72 other people seeking Rotary could become Rotarians. So here is a list of resources. There's a membership on Rotary.org. There's our district membership team, the Rotary Voices, there's the Rotary Magazine. You can contact other clubs, share ideas, guest speakers, fellowships, Zoom meetings. So let's all reach out and connect with Rotary, make it stronger together. Thank you very much for listening. Up next, my fellow committee member, Scott, will be talking about onboarding. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Andrew. I don't have any questions for you right now, but I just thought I would throw in an extra little tidbit because I'm the membership chair of my club, Burlington Lakeshore. And I think that most membership chairs are a great resource too. So it's somebody to reach out to on a personal level, as well as the district membership committee. And I'll just throw that suggestion out there and hand it over. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. My name is Scott Hebert, and I'm a member of the Rotary Club of Cambridge Sunrise. And Dr. Mike Laurie is the incoming district governor for next year, and he's a proud member of our club. I've been a member of Rotary for 20 years as of next year. I was invited in. I have a fairly long history. My grandfather, my great uncles, uncle, and father have all been members of Rotary. So that was my introduction to Rotary. I've been a past and an incoming membership chair, and I was Centennial president in 04-05. So I'm going to share some ideas about onboarding with you and some successes that we've found. So one thing we found was it's important to clarify expectations of new members, to look at a formal mentoring program, to look at a phased onboarding of members and ways to engage people, to really find out about people's interests. And I'm going to share some information about evaluating member experience as they come on board. So one major thing that our own club found is at one period of time, we were very successful in recruiting new members, but some of them weren't staying. And we weren't really being fair to them about the opportunities and the rewards of membership within our club and the benefits, but we also weren't clear about expectations. We weren't clear about the costs, the time commitments, the expectation of being on a committee. So we developed a membership application, not to be bureaucratic or difficult, but to just really, in a friendly way, lay out the expectations. And that will be appended to our material. So happy to share that and welcome any questions about that. It's a few pages, but very helpful, we found as a club. What we also wanted to do when we tried to onboard members, or if we talked to new members, we wanted them to understand the opinion of our current members about what they would say about having joined Rotary. What was beneficial for them? What did they most enjoy about Rotary? So I'm just sharing a few of the specific thoughts when we gathered feedback from our own members, what they said about membership and what they liked most about being a member of Rotary. I have another page of them. For some people, it's just a different time in their life. And many of the best friends that some of us have are people that we've met and been friends with for many, many years. You know, there aren't a lot of people that you meet every single week that you share a lot of fellowship with, or every 2 weeks, depending on how often you meet. But having that consistent and regular camaraderie is really beneficial, as expressed by the people that we asked in our club. We found as a club, it was helpful for onboarding new individuals to have a formal mentorship program and to kind of spell out the details. Ours is still being formalized, but there's a lot of lingo when you become a Rotarian. And trying to simplify that, we would share the ABCs of Rotary. We have a nice RI introduction and new member kit that we've purchased. We also formally assign a mentor, and from our experience, we often found that it was better to be someone other than the proposer. So the individual that proposed or first invited you to Rotary may, not be, maybe less inclined to, to support you in your onboarding experience. Having an objective, that way you've got two people that are kind of looking out for you. So we've typically assigned someone other than your proposer. We've got a schedule of items to cover, much the way you would have orientation for a new employee at a workplace. You don't just plop someone at the desk or in the operating room and say, go to it, enjoy your stay. We hope you do well. We formalize the introduction. We also like to introduce new members to Rotary in a formal way and really make them feel welcome. So there are a couple of links. I won't link to them, but they'll be on the presentation for you to follow up after this session. We really found that a phased introduction was helpful, and it starts right at the very beginning where we really want to honor the new members, really make them feel welcome right from the time that they're coming to assess which club that they want to belong to. And we've been really encouraging of people joining any Rotary club. So if, we may wish that they would join a morning club, but if that doesn't work, or if they're better off at lunch or prefer a different zone or different geographic area, we're happy that they join any Rotary club. So when we are onboarding, sometimes people prefer to go to a different club, or even when we're sort of prospecting, we're open to that idea. But when they do come on board, we really try to honor them. We try to fairly quickly have a new membership fellowship event or something that will engage a group of people. At times, we brought a few people on, 2 or 3 members at a time, and we found that helpful too, because they have peers that are joining them, and they found that a nice welcome. We've got some guidelines about making the classification talk easy, and there's links there that I'm happy to share, a little couple-page document that we developed, and there's a really nice example of a PowerPoint presentation and a slide deck that the Rotary Club of Ottawa developed. One of our conversations at vocational committee one year was that we might invite younger folks to come in that were looking at career day, that they might spend time actually developing the PowerPoint for a new member based on their interest of the career. So if somebody wanted to be a physician, they might interview, for example, from our club, Dr. Mike Laurie, and find out what his job was like as a physician, do a PowerPoint of his history, a bit of his interest, his connection to Rotary, and prepare his classification talk. So it was an opportunity for them to learn about Mike and his profession, and that would form the basis for his classification talk. That was an idea that was shared. Furthering on the phased introduction, we found it helpful to not just tell people that there are several committees, pick which one you want, good luck, this is the name, or that new members just say, oh, I'll grab that new person, we need help on our fundraising committee, or we need someone to help us with our food bank project. Let's grab, Jane Doe, our new vibrant new member, let's all grab her and invite her. It's nice if the mentor will actually attend some of the board or committee meetings first and kind of support that person each time as they make their way through Rotary and the various opportunities. I think it's important to discuss their interests, their skills, and their preferences for how they'll contribute as a new member, and to understand the commitments and the timelines for each different role. Also, we like, as I mentioned, to introduce the new member to the club through the classification talk. One thing we found is it's not always true that people want to join Rotary to do their same old daily job at Rotary. So a lawyer in your club may not wish to be the chair of the bylaw committee. An accountant may not want to be doing tax season and then also be doing the books for Rotary. So you really want to make sure, what are their interests, what are their wishes, what will make Rotary fun for them? And that was a key point Andrew mentioned, what will make it fun? There is a video embedded in here that I'm not going to share, but it talks about much of this information and sharing how best to involve people. Some individuals clearly have, they have committee chair aspirations, or they really want to be the president of their club, or they really want to contribute in a major way. They may have an interest in international service, or attending the international conference, or in fundraising, or NID, or Polio Plus program. So finding out their interests, their skills is really key. It's important to evaluate the club. Brian mentioned this earlier about surveying members using the health check to evaluate experience, changes over time, and for mentors to play a key role in evaluating at various points along a new member's time frame in Rotary. How are they doing at the 6-month mark, or 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months? Just having that little touch base, maybe stick around for a few minutes after Rotary, or grab a coffee or a drink sometime, and have a real heart-to-heart about what's exciting them about Rotary. Also, as an entire club, it's very helpful to develop a strategic plan and evaluate the club, the things that are working, the things that we should stop doing, what should we start doing, and what should we continue doing as a club. And I just shared this last quote that I found quite inspiring, and I'll leave it for you to read. I think this was the RI president during Brian Carmichael's year, so it's a good segue up to his upcoming presentation. And he's going to talk about membership basics and conduct a few surveys. So I'm happy to take questions if you have any, or answer them at the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. I do have a question from Nagwa. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. His first part of the question was, what is the best way of classification in this COVID-19 time? And the second part of his question was the induction of new members during COVID-19.
Some very good questions, and that presents a challenge. Classification has been less important, I would say, for the past several years. In the past, what I think the intention was is Rotary didn't want to have an entire club of 40 lawyers or a club of 40 dentists, that it wouldn't be as interesting for members if you didn't have diversity and a real representation of the breadth and depth of your community. So classification is probably less relevant, but I think people could certainly give their classification talk, which is about their career, their what they do, and I think that would work very well in a presentation form. And induction, I guess, would be the same. But
I think some clubs seem to be adopting various methods. Our latest new member, we've added him obviously to membership, but we're going to wait for an in-person induction. Other clubs are doing online inductions, and it's all great. It's up to the individual club. One of the things I wanted to throw in, because you had such great material, Scott, as membership chair in my club, I wrote a new members manual that is not RI specific, it's club specific. So this is the person who does this duty, this is why we do this. And I enjoyed doing it, and it seems to have been useful. So if anybody wants any suggestions on that, if you think you might find that useful.
We would.
I'd be happy to send it out, but like I say, it's club specific. So
nice.
I made a nice little binder out of it, and it seems to have been enjoyed by our new members to help them orient. That's the only thing. I have another comment from Sherry Miller from Grand Island. My club is recognizing our scholarship and high school senior honorees at our June Zoom meeting, which will also include our club officers turning over. I'm sending a special celebration Zoom background for the honorees to use, and we'll have noise makers for each Rotarian delivered to them at an upcoming service project. So that's very creative.
Sounds like they know how to make it fun.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be limited just because we're online. And a question from Dan DeBray, Burlington Rotary North Club. I'd be curious to know how many clubs have executed a health check in the last 12 months. So I don't know whether that's a poll question or if people want to throw comments in the chat box. And
I don't have an answer to that, but I bet one of the Bryans may. And Brian Carmichael's up next.
Okay, well, we'll hand it over to Brian. Thank you so much, Scott. Over to you.
So I trust my screen is up there. Everybody can see it, the possible next steps. Perfect. Okay. So I'm Brian Carmichael, and yes, we can answer that question about how many clubs do the health check, and I'm going to cover that in my particular presentation here. But to introduce myself, I'm a charter member of the Passport Club South here in District 7080, and I'm also a current member of the Zone 28 East Membership Coordinator Team. Our team communicates regularly with the district membership chairs throughout Ontario and Eastern Canada. So tonight you've heard about a number of topics. This wrap-up section will try to help you focus on possible next steps for you and your membership committee. But before I get into these suggestions, let's take a moment to complete a three-question poll. So Darren, if you could call up the first question, please, about active membership committees. And a note to the group, these questions are about this year's current club membership committee and their activities. So the first question, please, Darren. I guess we got about 18 members there, so active membership committee. So we've got sort of 16 of us say yes and 2 of us say no. So on to the next question, if you would please, Darren, and share that result. So how often does your membership committee meet? We've got your 3 choices up there. If you could just choose how often your committees meet, please. Just before we close it, any last minute entries, and then we'll ask Darren to end the polling on this. Okay, so we've got 10 now and again, 11 now and again, 1 bi-monthly, and 3 of us on a monthly basis. And then maybe the last question, please, Darren. About the size of your committee. Thanks, Darren. You can close those off now. I must admit, I was pleasantly surprised by the results in one of them, especially on how many our members are on your committee. When the 8 of us out of the group here, out of the 14 respondents, said 3 to 5, and that's really what we would encouraging, especially now with these tougher times that we're going through. That membership committees of 1 or 2 will be a lot better if you've got more members, and 3 to 5 would be work. And then probably one of the struggles would be, well, we're only a small club. How am I ever going to get 5 members on my committee? The suggestion would be take one of your meetings and turn it into a membership committee meeting. So that way you've got a good discussion going with all your club members there at the same time. Have a well thought out agenda that you can circulate in advance so that people know what they're going to be talking about and thinking about when it comes to the membership committee, but turn the whole meeting into a membership committee meeting. So thanks for taking part in that poll. It certainly helped me out. And what I'd like to do, so the poll seems to suggest that most clubs have, shall we say, a membership committee in the formative stage, with most clubs having more robust and active committees. But no matter which group your club seems to reflect, more than ever, an active membership committee will be needed to help guide your club through the difficult times of adjusting to our new normal. A membership committee is much more than just recruiting new members. Especially now, clubs need feedback from their membership. It is the membership committee that can help their club leadership by keeping their fingers on the pulse of the club members and keeping the membership informed of just how their club members are feeling. So if your club falls into the formative committee group, my suggestion would be to start in the Rotary Learning Center. Here you will find 10 courses relating to membership. Where do you start? Start with the club membership committee basics, as you can see on this screen here. Here you will learn more about your responsibilities in developing your club's strategic membership plan to attract and engage members. And engaging members is the key element of this section and a key to current challenges for all Rotary clubs. And just as a note, as you go through this particular online course, there's a committee checklist that is referred to. And this will need to be revised to reflect our current situation. But nonetheless, there are still a few points in this checklist worth considering. For those of you with more active committees, let me again suggest that you start in the Learning Center. However, in your case, start with a course entitled Membership. With this course, you will learn how to strengthen your club's membership by using real-life scenarios. You will find interactive learning materials that let you practice making choices as a fictional club leader and see exactly how these work and what works and what doesn't work. As part of this course, you will see that there is a number of subsections. Most of these subsections, like flexibility, innovation, new members, and orientation, have been talked about tonight, but going through this online course will give you a chance to reinforce what you've heard this evening. In particular, this course will talk about surveying your club membership. Just a reminder, the 3 surveys they talk about, Membership Satisfaction Survey, the Rotary Club Health Check, and the Exit Survey, are all online. Contact us at the District Membership Committee and we can set up your club's unique link to help you to any or all of these surveys. All responses are completely anonymous. Unlike paper surveys, all the collation of responses is presented to you as a final report. And finally, as mentioned by Andrew, the elephant in the room. No, we don't have all the answers tonight. However, what we do know is Rotarians are enterprising individuals. Successful recruiting and fundraising ideas will begin to emerge. Just as an update, we now have interest in forming 2 new passport clubs within our Rotary district. Rotarians have not been daunted by the current COVID pandemic and are actively engaged in forming these 2 new clubs in District 7080. Your district membership committee intends to follow up regularly with online meetings where you can pass along your challenges, your suggestions, and your successes, plus hear about other clubs' successes from across our zone. It's shaping up to be an interesting and challenging year ahead. So at this point, I'll turn it back over to District Membership Chair Brian Bennett and Patricia for their final words.
Thanks, Brian. It was really good to hear what you have to say there. I don't have any questions from the crowd here at the moment. But I just want everybody to know that the session is being recorded, and any of the information that you have. I know that Brian Bennett put on the first slide your contact information, right? So if people have questions afterwards, that would be great. Feel free to ask those questions. So
I will add, Patricia, too, that this whole presentation, the slide deck is going to be made available in PDF, and all the links, the ones that worked tonight and the ones that didn't work, will be in those slide decks, so people can see them properly.
Great, and feel free to reach out, everyone, if there's a resource that you think you would like from Brian, Scott, and Andrew. They're all available. They love answering your questions. And we'll leave you to your closing comments. Brian, thank you.
Well, again, I just I think in closing, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. And as Patricia said, we're here. We're your committee. We're there, your resource. Don't hesitate to reach out to us to any questions you may have. And thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. This has been a huge turnaround from meeting in person at Club Leadership Training in April. And so we're so pleased to offer our thanks to Darren for coordinating these meetings, and all of the presenters who've had to adapt their presentations to this COVID-19 situation and operate online. So my thanks go out to our panel this evening. And if you have questions after the fact, please reach out. And remember, if you go back to District 7080 website, under committees and training, there's a whole list of all of the presentations that have gone on and the video recordings. You can watch this as many times as you want, and you'll have a lot of resources available to you there. So thank you, everybody, for joining us this evening, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Yes. Good night, all.
Good night.
Good night.